Welcome back to the show, everybody. Let's take a look at these numbers while we run the headlines here. By the way, XRP price up 16%. Oh, yeah, we're going to talk about it. And how about SEC possibly going after Ethereum? What could that do to the legal strategy for Ripple? We're going to look at it. Best explanation why the crypto markets are a mess. We're going to take a macro look. You're going to like it. USD coins got breaking news, and we got the hearing from the Financial Services Committee and everything you need to know and more. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow us on TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook for exclusive content. $972 billion market cap for crypto. Download that Coin Paprika app and give them a try. And by the way, if you are a developer and you're looking for the best crypto aggregator data collection, the fastest, most accurate, the API is right here, ranked number 1. It is Coin Paprika. Click the link underneath the video and you get a discount if you need that information or that API. Bitcoin right now, 19,100 plus. Ethereum, 1,300 plus. XRP is 41 cents and actually 42 cents on some platforms this afternoon. And I Trust Capital is the only thing better than buying crypto is buying tax-free crypto. And you can do that by investing in crypto through a IRA. And you can also now stake live in the IRA as well, earning up to 9.5% APY. It is something to see, and that is with Polkadot right now. Make sure you check out the link underneath the video. Look at this. I was blown away. I saw this. I was like, now, I'm not that I'm upset about it, but why is XRP 41 cents and up 15.25% right now, which, by the way, is 42 cents and now 16% up? It is pretty remarkable watching what's happening. And I don't know, but I know a lot of people are saying it's because of settlement rumors. But I don't know if that happens. I think we go to distance. I don't know about anybody else. I mean, I'd love to see a settlement, but we'll see what goes on here. But the price is moving, and it has to, look, I have to wonder, is it ODL ramping up while all of this is going on? Is it actually people coming off the sidelines believing that whether it's a settlement or going to distance, that this case is obviously coming to a close? I don't know, but it says here from XRP Snaky that 2 million to 4 million plus trades per minute. There is some money moving back and forth between XRP right now. This here is how it all started, ladies and gentlemen. I want to play this quick clip here from Eleanor Tarrant on the show with these gentlemen at Block Bytes. Take a listen to this clip. This is really about the early days of when things, you know, we're trying to get traction, and what happened was DAI had covered a clip from Charles Gasparino from Fox News, and then everything took fire from there, from his video, and really got national news transaction, and that's how Fox got hung up into this and covering this entire case of the SEC versus Ripple, plus John Deaton in the class action lawsuit. Separate events, ladies and gentlemen, separate events. Really not often that you see 73,000+ people take a class action to sue the SEC, the very organization that's supposed to protect all of us. Take a listen.
How pivotal has he been through this process with XRP? I mean, it's a class action lawsuit of 73,000, you said, but like, what has been his impact? I think you know him fairly well, and you speak to him, from what I can tell, pretty often. So, you know, what has his role been in all of this, and how impactful has he been in helping kind of move along this lawsuit, you know, on behalf of 73,000 people?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's been incredibly impactful, I think, and especially to the retail investors, the little guys who don't get that say, who don't get that representation, and don't have those expensive lawyers that the SEC gets to have in court, right? So John has been the voice of people who have invested in XRP from years back. Now they can't access any of their XRP, any of their savings. They've really been hurt by this. So John's been a voice for them, and you know, he's a great guy, super intelligent. He was a asbestos lawyer before he became a securities lawyer.
I didn't know that.
which I love. I know, and he, you know, I would say he's just through experience, he's become a securities lawyer. And what I love about John is that he's not a Ripple fanboy, right? He's not in this because he thinks Ripple is the be all end all. And he's very much in it for the little guys, for the XRP holders. And, he'll be the first one to say that, maybe Ripple did do something wrong, but I am fighting for these guys who I know did nothing wrong and who I know have been hurt by this. So I think he's done a great job of bringing awareness to the case. This is obviously it's going to have a big impact, this case. It's everything kind of hinges on it. Regulatory, right? Like, it's going to set a precedent. And getting awareness out there has been great. And obviously crypto Twitter has helped, but John has kind of led that charge, I think.
I think he has too. And I look at him as the people's lawyer, no doubt about it. And I tell you, I do believe that this case is going to set precedent. And I believe John Deaton's case may do the same. I tell you, this is pretty remarkable time that we are in. And I also believe that this case will allow Ripple and XRP to go to the front of the line in the digital asset space for clarity and what we're going to see as far as that opens up in the way of adoption. Now, just to touch this before we go on to everything else here today, this was what we were dealing with back in the day, the kind of arrogance like Mike Novogratz is exhibiting here as if he's some kind of guru. Wheezy Nerd Nation here says, wow, what an amazing gut feeling Mike Novogratz had as to predict exactly what the SEC was going to do prior to the Hinman speech. This was May 2018. Take a quick listen here.
The big decision the SEC is wrestling with now, and I don't think we're going to get an answer in a short period of time, is Ethereum. And my gut feeling is they're going to say, well, it should have been a security, and it was a security when they did their ICO, but now it's a utility token, and so we're going to let that go. Is my gut feeling is what's going to happen.
That's his gut feeling. Yeah, and I have to wonder, is your gut feeling attached to your email, Novogratz? Or is your gut feeling attached to someone who's in the email chain of the Hinman emails? That's one hell of a gut feeling. John Deaton warned everyone that this would happen. Instead of crypto industry banding together, they ridiculed and dismissed the XRP community in Ripple, and they did. But this gentleman is proposing here that now, because we see that the SEC has publicly come out and declared that Ethereum falls under the US SEC's jurisdiction, the suggestion is now this.
Token sale, right? Because they're a commodity and they're trying to use Ethereum as evidence, right?
Because Ripple is using Ethereum as evidence that basically what's good for the goose is good for the gander. How can they get a free pass and XRP not, right? Keep listening, though.
SEC doesn't want to give them that evidence. So if this is the case, then Ripple loses automatically, right? Because Ripple is trying to use what SEC declared before, use that evidence and testimony from the prior director, why Ethereum was a commodity, right? Why it was declared a commodity, and Ripple wants that evidence so they can use that for their defense. But if SEC now is claiming Ethereum as a security, then Ripple has no defense. Ripple is out of luck, right? So
listen, I'm going to stop it right there. I mean, everybody's entitled to their own opinion, but based on what we learned from the summary judgment filings and the way it was broken down and shared by Jeremy Hogan, I get a different take on this. And I mean, I could be wrong, but I mean, what I get out of it is that Ripple went after the definition over the investment contract and basically tore it apart and said nothing about what we've done falls into the definition or couldn't even be considered as a security because there is no attachment to the investment contract that would grant rights to retail investors like us. So truthfully, they have made those comparisons about Ethereum in the case, but in the summary judgment filing, You've submitted in your motions, as I understand it, is what your framework of your argument is. And as I get that from Ripple, they're not so much focused now in the similarities of Ethereum. They probably even, foreshadowed that this moment would come for Ethereum and didn't want to risk their defense on it, and knowingly went after the law, which I think is the right thing to do here, because the law is the law, and the definitions of things like investment contracts should remain the definitions of things. Let's hope they don't change, like the definition for recession, right? So simplest explanation for why Clayton appointed by Trump and Gensler appointed by Biden both went after crypto is to set conditions for Wall Street to take over this new asset class. Follow the money to see the big picture, says Mark Phillips. Mark Phillips, obviously one of the baddest people out here in this space. Boy, you talk about a smart mind. Yeah, he nailed it here. Because this is why I keep talking about the news when we see, that Citadel and Charles Schwab and this one and that one and BlackRock and so on and Fidelity, they're all doing exchanges, because this is what's happening. I believe, and I interpret from what he's saying here to be the same, is that you see these appointees that obviously both came from Goldman Sachs, is the other side of this, regardless of political affiliation and appointments, serving the same master, right? Certainly not the people, or the SEC wouldn't be being sued right now by John Deaton and 73,000 of us. This is, I think, important, right? Because I believe personally myself that we do see regulatory capture of an agency like the SEC, regardless of who was in, because look at where they came from. Who's to benefit from this suppressed market? The same people who've been hurt when it was thriving. Because it's been their customers, their clients, to come over to this space that they can't sell until now, that they've been losing money to. And that's why I believe the market suppression is to flush out those that can't survive the down bear market or suppressed market, manipulated market, however you want to say it. And the ones that do run the risk of being scooped up by the major banks and the central monopolists, as Gary Gensler calls them, at pennies on the dollar. Just a thought. Got breaking news right here. It's USD coin, the unofficial, official retail U.S. digital dollar, I say, and that and 50 cents won't get you a cup of coffee, is now on Robinhood, ladies and gentlemen. Shout out to Jeremy Allaire and Circle and everything that they're doing. I do believe that the USD coin is going to really become that front-facing retail dollar with a public-private relationship, and hopefully held to the constitutional standards that all of us live by. That would be nice. This is Representative Mr. Nicholas right here, who asked the panel today at the Financial Services Committee talking about alternative payments, ladies and gentlemen. Do we need a central bank digital currency and stablecoin? Take a listen.
Nicholas, who's coming to us remotely, is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman, and I'd like to echo the sentiments of my bipartisan colleagues. I think this is the second subcommittee hearing we're having that I think has a lot of bipartisan interest. Madam Chairwoman, thank you so much for your leadership in helping us to come together on very key issues that are affecting the globe. I wanted to first just make sure we have it clear on the record, if we can just get a quick yes or no across the board from the witnesses. But what I'm hearing is that every single person on this panel agrees that the United States needs to, in some form or another, whether it's a CBDC or a stable coin, we need some form of digital currency. Is that a yes across the board?
I think he's asking for a yes or no across, so we'll start with Ms. Jin and just move to the right.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes for CBDC.
Yes.
Yes.
And there you have that. And then he's going to go on to ask about who should be the leadership when it comes to developing a central bank digital currency or stable coin, the Fed or the Treasury. Boy, I like the way this guy gets to business. Let's take a listen.
Treasury responsibility on the production of coin and currency will now potentially become also a Federal Reserve power if they are authorized to do so on the digital currency sphere. And so I'd like to also posit to the remaining panelists, is there a consensus that there's a belief that the Federal Reserve should be the one taking the lead on the digitization of U.S. currency, or should it be the Treasury? I guess we can go from right to left.
Mr. Levin, that would be you. I guess we're going the other way this time.
Oh, okay. Thank you, sir. I think that the question of oversight here is about primarily technology, and I would say that one clarification that I would like to sort of put forward is that actually we already have a lot of digital dollars in existence. In fact, a lot of our payment system is digital. We're not sort of sitting here with dollar bills, and so that system is primarily, the Federal Reserve is primarily responsible for the technology that supports how we clear and settle those dollars. And so, it does make sense that, as a pure technology play, that we think about what the future of that technology stack looks like, and that would come under the Federal Reserve. And there are some significant work in making sure that all of the institutions that are actually transacting in dollars and have access to that system, that they actually can, have buy-in and weigh in on the cybersecurity concerns and the AML concerns.
I agree with Mr. Levin in that it really depends on the technology itself. If we're talking purely about a CBDC, a central bank issued digital dollar, then certainly, obviously, the Federal Reserve is that's the function that the Federal Reserve has always taken when it comes to our currency. But when we're talking about U.S.-backed stablecoins globally, for payments, that could very well be something that is regulated, or the oversight comes from the Treasury Department. Just like other sort of technology, whether talking about securities or commodities, could be handled by other regulators. So I think today it really depends on the technology. But to the first question, the U.S. Doubling down on the need for a digital asset that holds our values and exports those values, whether it's a stablecoin or a CBDC.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The conversation being this, because Warren Davidson made this point as well, and I'm not going to play his whole video just because I don't want to get too long here, but he acknowledged that when you look on a Federal Reserve note, it is the Treasury official who signs that note. So it is a great question to understand who should lead and be the leadership when it comes to developing the CBDC and the stable coins. And it almost seemed as if Mr. Redboard here was actually kind of giving when it comes to the technology stack and those things, it's the Federal Reserve. Well, that's what we've seen so far with FedNow, right? And getting the actual payment system built. And when it comes to the digital dollars, well, even as the gentleman from Chainalysis before said, this stuff is really done by the Fed, and I get that as well. But what about stable coins? Should they really be overseen by the U.S. Treasury? And at the end of the day, aren't we talking about digital notes here? That's what we're talking about. And let's do a little segment here. Question for the pros, the legal analysts. It starts with Hasher Ventures right here. It says, got to ask the pros, John Deaton and Jeremy Hogan, strategy aside for the summary judgment motion, by Ripple leaving the fair notice defense out of that motion, benefit the SEC in that if ruled against them, it would not be a precedent, meaning they'd still operate with regulation by enforcement MO, ? He says, I found my answer here in the excellent Eleanor Terra interview. John Deaton, fair notice defense hasn't, when left out, is a more defensive position best suited for Ripple's response to the SEC's summary judgment motion. And Jeremy applied here much the same way. He says, I think Ripple will argue summary judgment on the fair notice defense is improper and premature because of the outstanding discovery of the Hinman emails, assuming of course, they still have not been produced a month from now. Now, I'm asking the question of legal analysts, and I know they're very busy, and I appreciate all of them very much. But I asked Jeremy here because I'd love to have his insight because he really highlighted the blue sky laws. Do you think that the blue sky laws could sweep the legs on the Reeves test referenced in the SEC summary judgment, page 47, as you referenced it does to the Howey test? I would love to be able to rule it out if possible. Thank you in advance. And to go back to the fair notice defense, I just want to remind everyone, because it took me a minute to kind of get that together, how it works. Fair notice defense only comes into play if the judge rules XRP is in fact a security. And then in that respect, fair notice defense is set to protect Brad Garlinghouse, Chris Larson, and Ripple, and not one other person. That is the reason they picked that defense. Should it not come out the way they hope, they will be able to, as individuals, go on and work in this industry, and Ripple will be able to operate in this industry going forward, because the fair notice defense would hold up in that, hopefully, in an ultimate ruling, right? So that's where we are on this day, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't done it, you know the price is moving. If you're going to buy, I'm not telling you what to do. It's not financial advice from me or anyone else, but Uphold has XRP on it. If you are looking for it, 0 deposit fees, 0 withdrawal fees, 0 trading commissions, and a whole bunch of other cryptos on there if you want those too. I'll catch all of you on the next one.